regardless to what anybody else feels about the information and moving their team forward, then I believe that you people, we have 12 on here right now, that we are the people who understand the power of financial education and especially the power of income shifting and what it is that you're trying to do. I'm going to talk more about wealth. We see, I think what happens is that we have these conversations about the small parts that make up the total scope of bringing wealth to our families. We do have to talk more about wealth because of the narrow-mindedness of people. The people that we meet, unless they're already wealthy, they do not have the mentality to create wealth. They have the mentality to maybe get out of debt, but mostly spend the money that they work hard for. They have the mentality to work hard for their money and not to actually even build their money to work hard for them. I was thinking so hard the other day about the concept of cash, asset, cash. But before you can implement that cash, asset, cash into your lifestyle, you got to go and find the cash. But I think it's important that we get a very good understanding of where we are in our mindset in order for us to have a real difference happen in our lives personally. So tonight, what I've done is I'm going a little bit different in our credit restoration or credit education information because people need to understand credit for more than the narrow part of what is exemplified to us. So you guys give me a moment. I'm going to pull up my screen. I cannot believe I went out of here. And so we're going to start this credit education night, and I hope you guys enjoy what was on my heart and what I have prepared tonight. That is a reminder even to me to work even harder for my goals, okay? So let's get started here. All right. Again, I hope you guys are being texted by the people that you invited tonight because we do have some on the call. All right, you guys. So this is not going to take long, but I hope it's some information that's going to be very valuable to the way that you see credit. So let me get started. I am Clarissa Pace. Again, I'm EVP Platinum in MyEcon Incorporated. I've been a part of MyEcon for 14 years, and within those 14 years, we have created over $1 million in cash flow. I think I'm very well qualified to be able to teach and to share with people just what it is we need to do to make some financial differences. And as I said before, everybody in MyEcon, if you've been in here for at least 6 months now, by now, this area of your life should be doing something. You should be moving something. If you've been here 2 or 3 or 4 years and is not doing anything different, then you're already behind. So you're trying to build a team over all that ugliness, and we need to go and take a look at our personal finances and make sure we understand that we have the right reason for what we're doing or why we're doing what we're doing, okay? So let's take a look at this. I want to first start with, as a credit specialist, and that's the advantage you guys have, is that I am a credit specialist. Ms. Lambert is a credit specialist on the team, and we've been working this thing for a while now. And I'm telling you, the more I deal with people, the older I am in this business, the more I see people having the wrong perspective about business or about their credit, okay? So I titled this first page, Just As You Think You Have Heard It All, okay? I want to share with you, just as you think you have heard it all, you've not heard enough when it comes to credit education and how to actually build. See, building a good credit score can take time for people who have damaged their credit very badly, okay? That's for those of us who have been in the working field and we've just not done what we're supposed to do by our creditors, and we got a mess. We got a real mess going on. So what people have to come to an understanding is there's not a quick fix to credit. but it can be fixed with a plan, a strategy, and a consistency with that plan. Young people have a better chance at maintaining good credit if they are taught the value of managing money. That includes paying your bills on time. That includes understanding debt and how it works, okay? Then, because some people are so anxious after they have made a mess, they will do whatever it takes to get the job done. And when I say that, I mean, all of this is my original language here because it's stuff that be on my heart. But when I say that is, they're going to pay thousands of dollars to actually a repair company to so-called repair their credit, okay? And ain't nothing wrong with that, but I ain't never got thousands of dollars from anybody to do it. And then they don't do anything. You guys, there's a reputable company out there. And today, as I was looking through some of my training and communication for credit specialists, there were several people who were talking about one person has spent $3,000 with this company to get their credit in shape. And they were saying they still don't have their credit in shape. Probably out of at least 10 of the comments that talked about this company, and y'all know them, they're well known, had not done anything for them but get items deleted. See, in people's mind, they're paying people to do a lot of deleting of their items or trade lines that's on their credit report. But these people don't specialize in helping their mentality, okay? So that's what I mean when I said they'll do whatever it takes. So they spend more money than necessary, try to take shortcuts through fraudulent credit scams. So I want to bring right up front, you know what, I put this picture of this man on here and he just scared me. But I want to talk about 3 ways to fraud. And I'm talking about particularly people who are not patient and who don't have a strategy, but by all means, they think just signing up with a company, paying $80 a month or $40 a month is what's going to do it for them. The first fraudulent way that people could possibly get involved in is what we call trade line renting. Miss Lambert will probably remember this language that we talked about when we went to our credit boot camp, but it's trade line renting, okay? Also known as piggybacking. Now, piggybacking is a very ethical way to become an authorized user on a credit account of someone you are familiar with, okay? It can be a family member or it can be a friend or an associate, okay? The only time it becomes unethical is when you are spending money to buy a stranger's trade line. Now, there was a question in our little community as we were talking today. One of the gentlemen says, how does that get to be a problem when you know it's your mom and because they're wealthy and all that kind of language? And I said to the young man, you missed the point. The point is piggybacking is okay if you know that person and they allow you to be a secondary on their card or authorized user on their card. And the process is you actually don't get their card. You just get a chance to put their history on your card. And later when we talk about the history on your credit report, the longer you have history in credit, the greater scoring will happen for you. But what is unethical and crossing all kind of boundaries is when a company will offer you to buy a trade line of somebody you don't know. Well, what's the problem here? The problem here is you don't know them. You're using their information and saying that you do know them. And then when you start trying to initiate any type of business, it becomes very unethical and illegal because you're saying that this is your credit, okay? Without going into details, revealing all of the things in this industry, it happens. As a matter of fact, we had some people, as I left the convention, I had some people that emailed and called who wanted me to connect with them. And y'all won't believe that these companies, to get a good trade line, these people will actually pay up to $3,000 or more, okay? Depending on how old it is, it's all kind of things that go with that. So we're still talking about, I want to bring us to the point of the true concept of how to look at our credit. The next way of frauding is using a CPN and EI or an EIN number. You should have heard years ago people talking about, well, I just hear you can just change your social security number. I hear you can just, y'all, anybody heard that already? You've heard about that? How people have talked about that? Yes, and this is what they're talking about. When you try to create a new credit file with a credit privacy number, it's called a CPN, or an EIN, which is a business number, which is a fictitious business. You know, you don't have a business, okay? And so you try to do away with the true credit file that is connected to your social security number. So there are people that this is fraud, but there are people who will try to initiate this and have been successful at it. But what makes it fraudulent is that that's not you. That's not you. You're creating a whole identity, a new identity, in order for you to go and obtain more debt. So that's unlawful. Okay? And if you get caught doing this, then you can actually pay fines or spend some time in jail. Okay? I had a gentleman that said to me, he got to talking to me. He had called me about helping him on his credit and all. And so I said, hey, I called him back. I said, what happened? He said, well, I went on and I did what I had to do. I went, I just went to Texas and got that done. I already knew. No, because a lot of the scammers are in the Texas area. Okay. And so I know what he had done to go and get him a quick fix so he could go buy this house and this property and all this other stuff. Okay. The next or the last one that I want to talk about is falsifying claims with identity theft. I had a young lady call me the other day and she said, I was with somebody and I didn't quite feel that comfortable because what happened was they wanted me to write this letter. Okay. I'm fading in and out. They wanted me to write this letter or go to, and falsify documents and say that this was a fraudulent act and get a police report. And there are rules, you guys, that go with that. If your identity has been stolen, you can go to a police station and you can get that report, and then the credit bureau and the collection agency has only so long, and they have to follow the law and delete that and release you from the debt. Okay. Now, if that happened and you don't know anything about it, certainly go get go file the police report. However, if not, say you got a whole lot of things going on, in which a lot of people will have a lot of things they know belong to them, and then they try to remove it by lying to the police report. Going to get a police report and submit it to the credit bureaus or to the debtor that is coming to collect from them. So when we talk about credit, people are so off base when it comes to credit and misled until they would do anything. And this is why I have this up front to you to let you know that these are three of the major ways that people will actually fraud to clean up their credit, because they don't understand and they don't get a strategy, and they don't understand credit for any more than making personal purchases. Okay. Now, why do you want credit? Okay. Some of the common answers are to buy a house, right? To buy a car, to own credit cards, or to just buy whatever I want. You guys have heard all of that before, haven't you? So when you see this, look how marketing does for us. Whenever we see people who in the mortgage business and the car business, this is what they show us. Happy people getting keys, either to the home or to the car. So what does that lead us to? That lead us to images that are supposed to validate the American dream. But what it's saying to us is, these are people who are picking up debt. They ain't really picking up where credit can help you, benefit you the most, but they got nothing but consumer spending on their mind. And this is the images we see. This is the images that we are taught. We're not actually taught how to handle this credit. We're just taught how to spend money with our credit. Do you guys agree or disagree? So let's take a look tonight. What is credit? I want to simply tell you, credit is debt. Credit is about debt. We can call it anything you want to call it. But what the bottom line is, credit is about obtaining debt. I'm sure if young people learned this up front, or if we had known this up front, we might would have handled things better, because credit looks like the other picture we had. It doesn't really look like debt until you got a pile of debt, just like this young man on this picture. Till you got student loans, until you got bank loans, until you got credit cards, you got car debts, you're borrowing from people, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now all of a sudden you realize credit was about debt. Long time ago, people bragged by the way they would flip out. You know, they had those little card holders for credit cards. And I can just remember people, older people I know, would just flip them out so they could roll. Yes, flip them just like that. Let you know they got a bunch of credit cards. But credit is about debt. So wouldn't it just make sense that if we're going to build good credit, it's about controlling our debt? We have to control our debt in order to control our credit. So here's what happens. Everybody wants to call me. Everybody wants, I told you before, everybody wants to delete items. They want to delete their charge-offs. They want to delete their bankruptcies. They want to delete their medical bills. They want to delete everything on there that looks bad, late payments, they want to delete. And in their minds, what I'm running into is people, that's all they connect repairing or restoring their credit with. They never connect the credit to debt management. And if you don't get anything else, my economist, you should get the point. I'm trying to get this home to you, that your debt is the biggest thing that you need to take care of in order for your credit scores to increase. Another synonym to credit is trust. If you keep looking it up, you're going to find the synonym to credit is trust. Credit was created to say that if I pull your record, you can be trusted with this note. You're going to pay me back. So what happens when you don't gain management skills for debt? You're untrustworthy. And for the saints, oh, here I go. For the saints, that looks bad. So know who and how much. In order to control it, you need to know who and how much you owe. Okay? You need to pay your bills on time each month. You need to use your cash flow manager budgeting software. I mean, y'all using it, because that's part of controlling your debt. You need to make at least the minimum payments on your debt on a monthly basis. You need to decide which debts to pay off first. You need to use your emergency funds to fall back on if you have to. Don't let anything go bad, but if you've been following our PCP plan, you may have some money that's laid back. Use what you can. Sometimes it's even better to pull some money out of a investment account just so you won't have your scores lowered and you can get that freedom of not having that debt. Then you also need to recognize the signs that you need help. Okay? Sometimes even as my econers, we don't recognize those signs. We keep sitting back. I don't understand people. We keep sitting back peeking in. We peeking in. And you don't even open your mouth and say, I need help. Joseph said it tonight. Miss Pace, I need a one-on-one. That's what you need to be saying. I need a one-on-one. Now, here's what's going to happen. When we get that one-on-one, you're going to have to work, because it's not going to come overnight, depending on your circumstance and situation. If you've had 15 years to make that report and to get your debt out of place, I'm not going to say it's going to take 15 years to get out. You better pray for a miracle, but it's going to take some time. Then the next thing is, don't just sit there. That's why I said you got to work. Don't come get no information and then you don't do anything about it. Because there's a part of my econ, this is what we're bringing to the table. You've got 5 areas in your income shifting strategy. The third area in our income shifting strategy is about business income. Actually, every part of the strategy is a way to increase your cash flow. And then when you get to business income, we've been talking about team building, and you sit back, you know you need money. Why don't you work your business? You got products and services. Add to the pot. Sometimes just $50 extra will help you pay a debt off. Okay? Now let's look at my next slide. Okay? I want to show you this. Now, we've got every tool it is in MyEcon to help you gain control. This one here is called the Cash Flow Strategist. This is not the training for Cash Flow Strategist, but I got to bring it to you where you can see that you have the tools to do better. And this is all a part of credit, because your debt situation is the reason your credit is poor. Don't make a debt. The Bible even says, don't even make a promise. That's a promissory note. Don't make a vow if you're going to break it. One version said, don't make a pledge. Okay? So if you already know that you don't have the money for it, that's the first thing is, don't go get it, because that's fool's faith. Don't even go get it. But if you do have it, we've got our fourth step in the Cash Flow Strategist that will give you a list and help you set up a pay scale so that you can pay that debt off. Listen, let me tell you guys personally, Jerome and I've been working this year to take care of some debt. Okay, it was time to take care of some debt. So I made some goals to take care of debt. Last week, I was sitting there and some of that debt was taken care of. And I get an email, and that email, now this is how the difference maker. It wasn't about deleting anything from my credit report. It was about paying debt. I got an email, pops up and says, congratulations. His score had increased by 62 points. He's going, how did that happen? How did that happen? That was simply eliminating some debt. I got an email, congratulations. Your score has increased by 19 points. Last month by 32 points. So when all people have it in their head that they're trying to delete these charge-offs and trying to delete everything else, why don't you start with eliminating your debt? Does that make sense? Start by eliminating the debt, okay? Now, let's take a look at this. Other ways to build good credit, because this is a huge question, not only paying off debt, but here's some other ways that we're going to work to build good credit or excellent credit. When you have budgeted your money, put a plan in place to eliminate the debt. It is possible that you need what? More money. So it makes sense. We were in our group discussion with some other credit specialists, and one of the experts says a lot of people are ashamed to say they need to go get a second job. And what they do is you try to tighten up on your budget when all you can work with is all you can work with. If you don't have no money, you can't work with nothing, right? So doesn't it just make sense that either you're going to get a second job or get a job, or you're going to get extra income through business ownership? Now, most of you, I can't tell who's on the phone, but most of you on here, y'all are MyEconers. You already are positioned to get the extra income. Now, what you going to do with it? Okay? Then you can also legally piggyback. But make sure that if you do the piggybacking, it's people who actually control their debt. Otherwise, leave them alone. The next thing is build it with new credit and be cautious as to how you work that credit. You got to be ready for that. That's why these last. And then your credit mixture makes all the difference in the world. I have a chart here because you need to be aware of the FICO scoring and the Vantage scoring system, because if you would notice, these two systems are totally different. So over FICO, if you have 20% of all people are scored here, excellent is going to be 800 to 850. Excellent in Vantage scoring is going to be 750 to 850. So these are two different systems that are Capital One, I think now is working off a Vantage score. There are some more you may have heard about these scores, but FICO is like the, came into the industry and they pretty much took over, but there are other people that are fighting for their place, and that's where Vantage scores come from, okay? Now, let's take a look at this one. All right, let me tap on here. Okay, so now we need to understand our scoring system. We got to understand that 35% of our score comes from payment history. Okay, we just talking about debt. That's what you include there. How do you pay your debt? The majority of your score is going to come from how you pay your debt. Okay, then the next 30% is your credit utilization rate. Okay, so what about how your cards are maxed out? If you have a credit line of $1,000, why do you have $999.99 charged on it? And then if you got 10 or 15 cards, and all of those cards are maxed out to the credit limit, guess what? Your score has gone down. I got people who want me to work a miracle past their inability to have control over their debt. Okay? Now, we're not judging anybody as to why it happened. We're just telling you now what has to happen for you to get better scores. Then 15% goes to credit history. That just means how long you have carried debt. And then the other 10% is about your new credit and the types of credit. So those two areas are very small compared to, but you can get a boost if you do get some new credit. It gives you a little boost to increase your score every now and then. I'm gonna give you a little hint. If you see your scores just standing still, then the 9 times out of 10, you do need to get new credit so to open up another area for you to be scored. Okay, because it will get there. It's all a game. Now, let's talk about, again, we're still talking about why do we want great credit, okay? We certainly don't want credit for what the slide said up front, just to buy a house or just to buy a car or just to hold a bunch of credit cards. We've got to come to the understanding that credit is better than that. Oh, I'm preaching to myself. Credit is better than that. I'd like to say thank you, Lord. Credit is so much better than that. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is my passion, okay? Credit is better than that. Leverage your credit to build wealth. And it's a very simple formula. Number one, make more than you spend and invest the difference wisely. Y'all got that? You say, well, this should be hard. No, it's not. It's simple. Make more than you spend and invest the difference wisely. Number two, develop simple daily habits that result in wealth accumulation. We're already teaching these strategies in my econ. How much of these strategies are you working on a daily basis? This is what it's about, people. Your credit is not about you buying. Your credit is about you building wealth. You got to be smart because big companies have used their credit to buy other companies and they kept their money growing. That's how you leverage your credit. So let's look at what the little man can do with his credit. Okay. I want to show you this picture I put out today. I stole it from Keith and it meant so much to me. I don't know what it meant to him, but it meant so much to me. I thought that this, before I give you your final slides on this teaching tonight, I want to show you something. Okay, these are classified, this car is classified in category of people who are middle class. Person goes out and buy $60,000 or a $60,000 car, okay? 15% depreciation per year. That means the car loses its value by 15% every year. But look at this. You started at 60,000. Now the car ain't worth nothing but 15,000. You keep that car over a period of time, that car ain't worth but $17,349. I want y'all to see the bigger picture. But now we're still talking about, we got media who's flashing keys in front of us, buy stuff that ain't worth nothing. Money goes into liabilities that are nice at first, but only decrease in value over time. Now let's take a look at the same $60,000 invested at 10% rate of return over 8 years. Now look at how much money. $128,616. Lord, I wish somebody had told me this in my early age. Okay, Now compare that, 17,000, 128,000. Okay, so what you've done over here is you pretty much gave your money away. And everybody wants a new fancy car, but you just gave your money away. This money goes into assets that grow your money over time. Things like real property, stocks, and gold. So let's take a look at what credit leveraging should be. Wealthy people know how to use their resources to support their bottom line. And good credit can be a particularly useful resource. Many entrepreneurs have leveraged their credit to build a fortune. How does that happen? So I'm gonna do it. I could have given you some examples that we could not necessarily touch because that's not where we are financially, but let's take a look at what we can do. Here's the concept. When you buy a home, people who have saved their money, what they do is they will go and get a home loan. That's all this is saying. Y'all can go back and watch the video. They will take their credit, go buy the home, keep their 20% that they have that they would normally pay down on the house, roll everything into the loan, and take that 20% and invest it. Because over time, guess what? They're making more money. Because when you first buy that house, right, it is a liability. So what they're doing is, this, you may not agree with it, but this is what people are doing. Even those who are in real estate, they get good credit so they can go and get a good loan with a low interest rate and purchase what they want on credit. That's what people, you'll hear people say, I take somebody else's money and build my wealth. That's what they mean. They put their credit in place and then they go and get what they need. In fact, the rates are so low, it says the borrower would rather invest their money and earn a return instead of putting it toward the purchase. They'd rather borrow money, paying little in interest, and invest the money they have, earning even more money. Because you know what? This doesn't extend that, but if you get the concept, I can see where after so long, if I've taken that money and made money, I can turn around and take the money I made off of it and pay my house off. Does that make sense? Now that house is not a liability, but it's an asset, like it should be. And then you've lost spending thousands of dollars over time. Next thing is an example of a car. Going ahead and getting, some people go and buy their cars on term, use the same process, right? Invest in that money, and then what can happen? When they make money, they can turn around and pay their car off. Does that make sense? Or they're gonna have money in the long run to live off of. Listen, you can use this concept any way you want to. But by all means, the call tonight is to give you a different perspective on how you see credit. Because this has become such a, I guess, fad credit. I mean, now we've been preaching this for 14 years or more. And we had a conference a couple weeks ago or last weekend. And here it is. The woman is up preaching through a whole sermon. All she did was talk about telling people to get their money in place. They need to get their money in place, God's people. And me and Miss Lambert just sitting there going, wow, we could have had a VA. We've been telling people to do this. She's been telling them, get their credit, get your credit, get your credit. And we these national artists and stuff. And we've been preaching this message 14 years. So we can't, as my economist tonight, I wanted to bring this training to you that you don't get caught up just on the concept of having good credit, to have good credit to go and buy a house or buy a car or get in more debt. But rather use your good credit to leverage and build extra for your family. That's when you can wallow in the cash. That's when you become wealthy. When you get the concept, when your mindset changes, this is when you can sit and watch your money grow and you not actually work for your money every day. And believe it or not, y'all can do this concept and don't even have a down payment. How about that? Because you got great, if I see where I can do it without a lot of money. I can go and get me some credit and go buy me 2 or 3 or 4 houses that are foreclosing, some that the taxes haven't been paid for. I can go and get me a little loan, buy them, and how about turn around, fix them up, get enough money to fix it up, and then turn around and flip the house. And voila, you got money to take and invest and keep reinvesting that money and watching it grow. Does that make sense? All right. So that's my training for tonight. Can I have you guys' thoughts if you are here and you have any questions or comments? I hope, let me know, give me feedback on how you felt about this training tonight, because it wasn't a traditional type training like we normally have over credit. Okay, go right ahead. Anyone have any questions?
No, I think the training was definitely on point and something needed. Could you go back to the slide about the 3 types of fraud?
Sure, I sure will right now.
You know, this is interesting because I see stuff come across my Facebook timeline all the time. I know people that are, you know, promoting credit repair and things like this, and the only thing they promote is deletion. That's it. Delete, 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 delete. And then the other piece is, do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy a car? You know, nothing about wealth building or anything of that nature, nothing about the other aspects of credit. But this piece right here about the fraud, the trade line, I've always been curious about it because I've heard people talk about it before. And I'm glad that you put it on here because, you know, people, like you said, people would do anything to get a good score, not realizing that something that they're participating in is unethical. So the trade line renting, I feel real good. I mean, I'm glad you brought this to us. And then the CPN is interesting. I've got a friend of mine who he mentioned this to me a couple of years ago. And when you started to describe what that entails, I couldn't do anything but start laughing on the inside. And so, you know, I know this is something that, you know, you just don't go around doing for the sake of doing. But again, I appreciate you bringing it to my attention and bringing it to the team because I didn't know anything about it. So it's well worth it, and I'm glad you brought it to us tonight.
Because the bottom line, I think the principle behind this is that you don't have to fraud to rebuild your credit status. It's just put a plan in place, and people are just and then I'm doing that because as an old timer in the credit business, I know I got a lot of competition out there, and as my e-commerce, we have a lot of competition. You know, the Bible says, "I will not have you ignorant, brethren." I don't want any of you guys to get on the same bandwagon because of the lack of true knowledge about credit and how it works. And so we've got to perhaps, you know, you don't have to do verbatim, but as you start to market, I think if we give people today, as we talked about, if you saw my video, we talked about why do people want to do business with you? It may be that they want to do business with you because you have a different perspective, okay? And so that's what I'm bringing to the table. I'm getting ready to do, and I hope all of you find my Shekinah credit page, business credit page, and all of that, because I'm getting ready to talk about the things that I know, my knowledge I've had over the years that I've not shared openly, which is a different perspective. And I just see all of these lies being told to people and people signing up for what, $80 a month, $88 a month, and they leave with nothing. These companies don't really care about them. They don't really teach them. They don't at all. They're not designed for that. But we are designed to give them the truth, or at least a better way, a better option, I would feel, that will make them do better for the rest of their lives and pass it on to generation to generation. All right, anybody else? And Miss Lambert, I'd love to hear from you. Teresa, I see you. Lamar.
Yeah, I really like the part where you talked about credit is debt.
Mhm.
I've never looked at it like that. You know, I always thought credit was money. You know, if you had credit, you had money. You know, I know credit is debt, and you said control your debt, you control your credit. I just never, I mean, that when you said credit is dead, that just like, okay, that just woke up because I just never looked at credit like that. I always just, when you talk about credit, I just look at it as like, that's just it's just money to me. But the way you explained that and the way you talked about that, I really saw a difference in that tonight. And I'm like, okay, I wrote that down because they really just stood out to me tonight.
Okay, good. Because what happens is, I hope you can see that when you take a picture, or you're getting a mental picture, or you pull down that credit report, you actually take a look at yourself and how you manage things. We want to get out of the things that we have done without breaking habits of doing them, if that makes sense. I have, when you said that, I thought about a young lady that used to be married to well, anyway, a young lady that came to me, and I promise you, she had probably 7 cars she had bought. And she said, I need you, TT, to help me repair my credit. I'm like, girl, you done bought seven cars, and you ain't paid damn one of them longer than 3 or 4 months. You want me to, that's not what I need to help you with. I need to help you understand, if you making a debt, you need to pay it or don't make the debt. So what can you do when people have a lot of things that they haven't learned the first time, and my suggestion there is, go ahead and go bankrupt, and go bankrupt in your mind. Do something different. Do it naturally and do it mentally. Do something different on the next go around, because I also have clients who have been through chapter 13 or chapter 7, and they didn't learn nothing. They didn't understand why they went bankrupt. And that's why, because they do not have any control over their debt. And that's sometimes a mental situation, sometimes it's a lack of understanding, sometimes maybe it came with the family, maybe it comes with a spirit of greed, I don't know. But whatever it is, we got to get it under control. Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Cherie?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I do now. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I really, I like the presentation tonight. It's in line with what we're talking about, renewing our mind and trying to do better. You can't change if you don't change it mentally first. And what was really powerful was that slide that you said you stole from Keith, I believe it was, with the car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I ain't never seen it like that. With presentation training was good, but that one was I guess more powerful. It made a statement all by itself. And we are, like you had said, or someone had said, about how advertisers promote us or encourage us to spend our money this way, and our whole goal is to get money or get good credit so we can buy these liabilities. And so we're almost just like trained to do this way instead of thinking that there's a better way. And I'm with you, and I just really was excited to hear this part, because we can teach this young generation and then maybe change the mindset of those that are our age and older to think differently. You can do better with your income and with your money, and invest and make it, because that's a big difference between $17,000 and $120,000. I don't know how my glasses, my eyes going out, $128,000.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big difference.
Yes, yes, a huge difference. I think Scott had his raised his hand. I get a notification, hand raised. Thank you. Yes, that's why I wanted to put it. I think he had something else on there, but I was sitting there going, "Oh my God, this is very, very powerful." And I just added it to what I was going to bring. Scott, you raised your hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out how to put it on mute.
Oh, okay.
Had to put me on the. Had to
I got you.
No. I was just saying I was on something I had never been on before.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anyone else? I wish we could from the callers. Okay.
Miss
Anyone
Pace.
else?
Miss Pace, can you hear me?
I do now. I do now.
Okay, because all you guys been cutting in and out tonight. Simply, credit is not for immature people. Those who lack control, it's not. That's the problem. When we know it, we can't handle credit. Credit is important. Credit is necessary in some area. When you go to rent a car, they ask you, do you have a major credit card? That don't mean you have to charge if you have yourself in position, but it is good to have. So we have to learn the difference. We have to learn how to manage. These are things that have been said tonight. This is a way, a money-making scheme, the interest rates, all this type of thing. So as my economist, as you learn better, you do better. Management is the number one key in any situation. Being able to manage, have some self-control. If you don't, then you're going to have to leave it alone. That's in any area. So this is something that's come back to just remind us, nothing new, but something to kind of come back to prick our remembrance, our understanding, and hopefully somewhere along the line, we will grow up to learn how to manage our debt.
Okay. All right. Thank you. She said, grow up. So I think of maturity, let's become mature. And for me, maturity just means making the right choices, making better choices. And hey, that comes at any time in our lives. It's never too late. All right, you guys. Anybody else? All right. If there is nothing else, we will be in, I have an announcement. We'll be, Thursday night, we'll be at the Great I Am Temple at 7 o'clock doing some training. Invite your guests to come out. And then on Sunday evening, I think at 5 o'clock, we'll be in Louisiana helping Miss Mary Davis in Louisiana. And then when we get another schedule, somebody else is ready to open that door, we'll be walking through it, okay? And we will continue to keep up the good work. I will say I'm still proud of you guys. I think we had 12 on tonight. I don't know if it was 12 members or we had guests, but I just want to thank everybody for joining us. And until next week, we will have a guest. Do what you can to get your guest on the call and put your nuggets on GroupMe, as well as I want more. Let the environment that isn't on GroupMe to hear some of your nuggets from tonight. And then also invite your team. I think I was saying invite the team next week and put your email address on GroupMe, and we will send you the documentation so that you can be prepared for the training on next week, okay? Until then, yes.
It looks like Marva Steen got her hand raised.
Oh, Marva Steen, okay. All right, come on with it then, Marva Steen. Marva Steen? I don't.
Thank you. Okay.
No, she's gone now. No,
Okay.
she's back.
Huh?
Okay.
No, she did.
I don't see her audio connected to us, so I don't know what she has done.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you have a question, Marvin, just go ahead, or a comment, go ahead and put it on GroupMe, and we will we'll answer it there. Okay. I think somebody's putting something in chat that may be her.
Yeah, she says it say unmuted. That's what it said. She typed in the chat, it say unmuted.
Right, and it does, but I don't know why I can't. I'm so sorry, baby. So just go ahead and put it in the GroupMe, and we'll respond and put your comments there. All right. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining Team Vision Call tonight. We will see you later this week. Let's keep working our business, right? We've got all of this promotion going on. There's no reason why we all shouldn't walk away with at least 3 new members to this concept, okay? God bless you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.